Brace yourselves, travelers. Airports are bracing themselves for what's being called the final summer surge. It's Labor Day weekend, and it's the final countdown. 12 million people are expected to take to the skies, and that is according to the travel website Hopper. Given what we saw at the Memorial Day holiday, the unofficial start of summer, significant delays, major flight cancellations, long lines for check-in and security, you should already have a plan before the plane. Get it? Here to help us with that plan is the Points Guy, the managing editor of Points Guy, Clint Henderson. And Clint, it is every traveler's worst nightmare, a flight cancellation. I just want to say, I listened to all your tips. I flew last weekend. I had a direct flight. I didn't check bags. It was the first flight of the day. It was still delayed. Is there any way to fix this?
So I think the only thing that's going to fix this at this point is time. All the CEOs, all the analysts are saying they don't expect it to operationally be back to normal until summer of next year. So fasten your seatbelts. I think it's going to be a long fall and holiday season for continued delays and cancellations, unfortunately.
Yeah, fasten your seatbelts and get ready to go nowhere, right? Just sit on that tarmac and roast, depending on what city you're in. Are there any tips, though? I just mentioned basically 3 of them that I've heard before, but are there really any tips for this, or is it just the airlines need to get their you-know-what together?
Well, I think that's a big part of it, but also you should have a backup plan these days. So you should know what other airlines are flying on your route. So if your American Airlines flight to Dallas is delayed or canceled, you can call American and say, hey, put me on the Delta flight that's also going in that direction. Sometimes the airlines will do that. You want to have the airline app installed on your phone. So if something goes sideways, you can rebook yourself, because a lot of the airlines now have that capability in their apps. Follow the airline on social media. So be able to be one of the first people to reach customer service. Sometimes those phone wait times can be hours long. So if you send a direct message on Twitter or Instagram to the airline, sometimes you're going to get a quicker response that way. And then run to be the first in line, because you're going to compete. You're going to be competing with all those people who also were on the flight that you were just on that was canceled. So you have to be your own best advocate these days. I
like that. It's not how to avoid a travel issue, because you're going to face a travel issue. It's what to do when you face a travel issue. That's how the advice has changed over the summer. Now, are there some airports to avoid? I hear that Florida is just a disaster for flight delays.
Florida's been tough. Part of the reason is they've added so many flights into Florida because it's such a popular destination, and air traffic control, frankly, is just overwhelmed. They also have a lot of space flights now out of Florida, which is also interfering with flight paths. But some of the airports you want to avoid that have the most delays and cancellations are Chicago's Midway, Baltimore Airport. Newark has been a bit of a train wreck for various reasons. So Dallas Love Field is another one that hasn't been great. Anytime you're in an airport where there are summer thunderstorms, that's going to usually severely impact. That's another reason to try to travel in the morning, because in the evening is when those summer thunderstorms start rolling through, and that's really what causes a lot of delays and cancellations.
You also just listed a lot of airlines hubs that you basically can't avoid if you're flying certain airlines. I wish we could. Now, we're still facing some significant inflation. I was looking at a flight to Palm Springs for March. It was way too expensive. Are we ever going to see costs come down?
So there's good news on that front. Actually, prices have come down from their peaks of late spring and early summer, sometimes substantially. But here's the bad news. The airlines are cutting capacity because of all the delays and cancellations. So there's less seats available. So that drives prices higher. I would also say that prices are higher for this weekend, this Labor Day weekend coming up, and for the holidays specifically. But if you're willing to travel on off-peak days, prices actually have come down quite a bit. And we are seeing a ton of deal alerts. Every day we publish a new deal alert at the Points Guy. We're seeing flights under 500 to Europe regularly. And remember, the US dollar is super strong right now. So if you're traveling internationally, you're going to be able to score some bargains.
All right, that's what we like to hear, some good news. That's Clint Henderson, managing editor, The Points Guy. Thank you, Clint.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.